I'm Tim Leduc of Team 4810, and you're watching RoboZone.
Welcome back to State Champs as we jump into what took place this past week in the sport of high school robotics. We call this State Champs RoboZone, and this part of the show is presented by First in Michigan. I'm Lauren Plant. Now, the competition that is Stronghold saw teams get their first crack at it, and we saw several different game plans play out. Some worked, some didn't. We had a lot of scoring, some well-executed defense too, and of course, we had full contact, and that is always a crowd pleaser. We've got highlights from the first 4 districts as well as expert analysis on what went down. We'll also update the state rankings. Let's start at Standish-Sterling. The Standish-Sterling district featured some of the most reliable winners from the state of Michigan. 2 teams from our preseason top 25 rankings were ready to take on all comers, as well as the defending district champs who came all the way from Escanaba to try for a sweet repeat. Let's quickly review some of the key aspects of Stronghold. Goals can be scored on both the low and the high targets. And finally, during the last 20 seconds of a match, teams can scale the tower for a bonus of 25 points. Now, let's head to the games. During the qualifying rounds, one team rose above the rest, Fremont's NC Gears. They showcased their skill at scoring the high goal shot. Up high is worth 5 points, the low goal just 2. That advantage gave Fremont the #1 pick when it came to the Alliance draft, and they joined forces with BOYNE City and Freeland. To the action, the #1 seeded Alliance led by Fremont faced off against the #8 team, and an upset looked to be brewing as Freeland's robot stalled. The Alliance of Central Lake, Pitford, and Lincoln stole the first game. Despite some continued snags, the #1 seed rebounded, taking the next 2 games in the best-of-3 elimination and moving on to the semifinals. The quarters continue to feature some close matchups, none closer than the #4 v #5 matchup. With #5 up by a game, the next matchup is literally coming down to the wire. The Alliance of Escanaba, Bay City, and Saginaw Heritage fought hard. In the end, the upstart team led by the rookies from Bay City got the job done by a single digit. Another great come-from-behind story was written in the last quarterfinal match. The #3 seed, led by Crossroads Charter Academy of Big Rapids, dropped their first game against the #6 seed. After battling back for a 4-point win in Game 2, CC Automationeers and their teammates from Beaver Island and the combined squad of Canton, Plymouth, and Salem earned a 5-point victory to move on. In the semifinals, the #1 and #3 alliances were able to prevail. That set us up for an exciting showdown in the Standish-Sterling district finale. In the first game, Fremont and BOYNE City used their veteran smarts to attack effectively and score goals from both the low and the high angle. The #1 alliance posted a 130-point final score that gave them a 1-0 lead. With the blue banner in sight, both teams pulled out all the stops for Game 2. CC Automationeers and their squad took an early lead, but the high goal shot from Fremont put the #1 team back in front. With time winding down and victory still up for grabs, check it, Freeland going for the scale of the tower to try and claim the win. Success! Fremont picks up a district title for the 8th season in a row, and they owe a big thanks to their friends from Freeland for that blue banner.
We were mainly just trying to warm up for our next competition in 2 weeks for Midland, but it ended up going a lot better than expected. We had a rough start in the beginning, but we ended up getting to the top at the end.
All right, so let's talk about what took place at Standish-Sterling. Joining us is one of our expert analysts, Dan KIMURA. Dan, good to see you. You were really high on NC Gears coming in. They came through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not surprised at all. NC Gears are one of the best teams in the state over the past few years. And again, they performed like it here. They had a great autonomous mode. They were shooting high goals, more than I think anybody else at that event. And if you look at some of the second order stats, some of our more detailed stats, you'll find that they might have been the best performing robot across all events this week.
Wow. And there was kind of some talk that the high goal was going to be a real challenge, especially in week 1, but there were some teams doing it.
Yeah, teams were making shots up high. There weren't that many that were making enough for it to be worth it. So again, if you can make eight balls in the goal, low or high, in the elimination rounds, you're going to get a 25-point bonus. And so a lot of the teams that were going high goal, you know, maybe if they could have gotten a couple more in the low goal, they would have gotten that bonus points and been better off.
Right. We had some technical issues. There always is early on, but it wasn't uncommon, right, for first week?
Everybody's going to have issues. Everybody's going to struggle through this week, and a lot of them are going to come back strong.
Hey guys, I'm Stephanie FUNKHOUSER. Keep it locked right here because coming up next, some big upsets took place in the Kettering district, and you won't want to miss that Cinderella story. We also see some robots make the climb up the tower when our coverage of high school robotics continues on State Champs.
We want you.
We are Lawrence Technological University, and we don't want just anyone.
We want the brainiacs, visionaries, geniuses, and game changers. We want the students who will change the world through technology, science, business, and design.
So if you're ready to explore your possibilities,
We want you at LTU.
Lawrence Tech, possible is everything.
Genius is not born. It's nurtured. It's curious. Genius takes teamwork, patience. It keeps going until that moment when it shines. Introducing the Generation Genius Project, a consumer's energy educational initiative to inspire a passion in science, technology, engineering, and math. Discover the genius in all of us.
Fundraising should be fresh, flavorful, and simple. We have the perfect solution at Hungry Howie's, Dough Raiser. Your nonprofit organization can sell paper pizza certificates that your customers can redeem for one medium pizza at participating Hungry Howie's locations. Go to doughraiser.com to learn about, sign up for, and order everything Dough Raiser. Request a Dough Raiser kit for your group today. Your next fundraiser comes with flavored crust. Welcome to Hungry Howie's Dough Raiser.
Welcome back to State Champs RoboZone. Now, early on in the season, you never know what to expect in these district matchups, and that's exactly what we saw in the Stronghold Arena at Kettering. For the past 7 years, Kettering University has hosted district competition. Here at the start of 2016, a ton of newer teams, 75% with just 4 years or less of competition experience. Everyone hungry, though, for their first go at Stronghold. When the qualifying dust was settled, Team 5150 from Flint and 6086, a rookie team from Mount Morris, emerged as the top seeds for Alliance selection. As other young teams flew off the draft board, the number 3 Alliance focused on building a team with experience. The Benzene Bots from Troy selected Goodrich and CORUNNA to join them in the arena. With quarterfinals underway, fans were excited to see if youth would be served or if the old guard would claim victory. Crowd fired up early in the 2v7 matchup. A Cinderella story formed quickly. The underdogs from Lapeer, Kingston, and Jonesville sent the big dogs packing to punch their ticket to the semifinals. In the semis, another upset occurred as the top Alliance got into a shootout with the number 4 seed, made up of teams from Dexter, another squad from Lapeer, and Manchester. The number 4 Alliance took match 1. Then, the favorites bounced back to eke out a 1-point victory to force a rubber match. In the finale, solid defense from the Dreadbots helped secure the win and send the number 4 seed to the big dance. Who would they face?
Let's get to team number 70!
Alliance 7 kept up their high-scoring ways, but the consistency of Troy and Goodrich kept number 3 in front. They scored a 4-point win before sealing the deal in match 2 to set up a final showdown between the 3rd and 4th ranked teams. The finals saw good action, both teams facing a barrage of obstacles. Things looked bad for number 3 when the CORUNNA Fridge Bots tipped over and could not recover. However, number 4 lost a robot as well as Strike Zone from Lapeer got hung up on the drawbridge. They became a non-factor. Alliance number 3 leaned on their experience to adjust on the fly, and they took match 1. Back at full strength for match 2, both teams came out swinging. No longer stuck on their back, the Fridge Bots helped stymie the offensive attempts of Alliance number 4, while their teammates quickly and effectively scored to pad the lead. Their veteran maneuvers ended up paying off as Alliance 3 took the title at Kettering.
I think that our team found success because we focused on one thing, breaching defenses, and we got really good at it. we were able to do it successfully and consistently, do it every match and very quickly.
So we made sure we knew what our alliance partners could do and that we did something that sort of matched with them, synergized with them. And we also scouted to see what the opposing alliance could do and made sure that we had tactics that could maximize our scoring potential and made sure that we could still beat them.
We are joined now by our friend Jim Zondag to recap what we just saw. Now, Jim, this was a wild district, but we saw a lot of things go wrong. However, the number 3 alliance from Troy, GOODRICH and CORUNNA, able to adapt, get the victory.
Yeah, we saw some upsets here, which is sometimes unusual, but not that uncommon in early week tournaments. What really happened here is the Benzene Bots and the Martians are veteran teams. They were captains of the 3rd alliance. The top 2 alliances were captained by younger teams. And really, when we switched into the elimination rounds, proper application of defense was the difference between winning and losing in those critical rounds. And the Martian Alliance knew how to pull that off, and I don't think the other ones did.
What stood out to you about some of the gameplay here?
Some of the gameplay here, really, scaling the tower is a bit of an elite task. It's not really required in order to score high points in this game, because neither of the bonuses depend on it. So many teams viewed it as optional. However, it is the best 10 points that you can get on the game as far as point return per second in gameplay. And it looks really cool.
All right, thanks, Jim. At the Southfield district now, we saw more upsets and some robots literally getting a crash course in how a stronghold match can play out. So let it be written, so let it be done, proclaimed Taylor's TNT Robotics team. Everyone who had the 10 Commandments in their movie quote robotics pool, you can collect your winnings at the cage. The Southfield district saw a tight race as teams jockeyed for drafting position during qualification. They jockeyed so hard, in fact, that a timeout was needed for the smoke literally to be cleared from the field of play. Coming out on top, the Goon Squad from Woodhaven High School, and they decided to join forces with the 2 separate Robo-Ravens teams from Royal Oak. In the playoffs, we saw some big match-clinching plays. In the quarters, the newly formed number 1 alliance had to scale the tower in the closing seconds to come from behind and steal a victory from the upset-minded number 8 squad. 2 lower seeds able to move on from the quarters as both the number 6 and number 7 alliances defeated their highly ranked opponents to reach the semifinals. The Goon Squad took care of business in the first semi, but things were much more up in the air for the second finals berth as the number 6 alliance of Hamtramck, Cesar Chavez High, and the Combo Squad of Bloomfield Hills Marion and Brother Rice held on to win an epic first match 148-143. In match 2, the number 6 alliance able to score on the tower 9 times, and that was enough to send them into the district finals. In the championship match, it was David versus Goliath, but all 6 robots battled effectively from the start. In match 1, Woodhaven able to climb and clear enough points for their alliance to draw first blood. Second match saw more of the same. Goon Squad and their teammates kept up the pressure, scoring the low goals and priming the tower to be scaled once again, and that's exactly how this one ended. The number 1 alliance takes home the title, the second one ever for Woodhaven, and Royal Oak High School will pick up 2 blue banners thanks to the efforts from both Robo-Ravens teams. Jim Zondag back with us now, and let's talk Southfield. We saw another scale, Jim, this time late in the competition to cap the finale. Looks like a few teams have this figured out.
Yeah, the Goon Squad, number 1 alliance, really had it figured out. They figured out a game of score as many balls as possible, regardless of where. They were doing strictly low ball scoring.
What else stood out to you from these competitions?
The thing that stood out for me from these competitions was how effectively a lot of the alliances, when paired with a couple of decent robots, were able to breach the defenses. Sometimes in under a minute, the breach bonus was already claimed by many of the alliances.
Up next is our main event as the Warterford competition showcased some of the top teams in the state of Michigan. Stay tuned for a great battle between a couple of heavyweights, plus Dan and Jim will update their top 10 rankings later in the show when state champs RoboZone returns.
For over 30 years, we've been the leading supplier of robots, CNCs, and factory automation to American manufacturing. We help companies reach production goals locally and globally with bringing manufacturing back to North America. Our innovative technologies provide world-class quality and efficiency. We train, educate, and develop highly skilled workers, harnessing the power of man and machine together. We are the future of manufacturing. We are FANUC America.
We want you. We are LTU, Lawrence Technological University, and is one of the nation's best schools for engineering, architecture, and technology. We don't want just anybody. We want students who are curious and driven, students who want to change the world through technology, science, and design. So if you believe that possible is everything, we want you at LTU.
Hungry Howie's founded flavored crust, but how can we really own flavor?
One word, brand extensions. Behold, butter cheese toothpaste.
You actually made a tube of toothpaste.
Not just one, check it. I got sesame, Asiago cheese, onion.
Where are these coming from?
I've got an intern.
Really?
Hey, order online and get a meal deal for any size budget.
Hungry Howie's!
Genius is not born. It's nurtured. It's curious. Genius takes teamwork, patience. It keeps going until that moment when it shines. Introducing the Generation Genius Project, a consumer's energy educational initiative to inspire a passion in science, technology, engineering, and math. Discover the genius in all of us.
We are back on State Champs RoboZone. I'm Lauren Plant. We have a full house on set here as both Dan and Jim are joining me to recap our main events of sorts. They'll be back. District with the most talented collection of teams was Warterford. Jim, your team competed in this district. Let's see how things played out and who came away with the title. The three districts we've already seen in week one, great competitions, but make no bones about it. When the schedule came out, all eyes were on the Waterford District Showdown. Chock full of heavyweights, 5 squads from our preseason top 10 took the field. Qualification started slowly. Some of the favorites dealing with technical issues, including the Killer Bees repping Notre Dame Prep. The Bees sat out their first 3 rounds with an electronics issue. However, adjustments were made. What's the saying? The cream always rises to the top. Our preseason top team in the state, the Heroes of Tomorrow out of Milford, claimed the top spot, followed by Oxford, with Mason High School and Armada rounding out the top 4 in the Alliance draft order. The big drama during Alliance selection was where the remaining top teams would end up. With the first pick, the hot team chose Notre Dame Prep. Oxford added the Fighting Pie from Armada, and Mason chose Temperance Bedford as 3 very strong alliances were formed. The theme early on in the elimination rounds was big scores. So huge, in fact, that the #1 alliance team of Milford, Notre Dame Prep, and the combined squad of Allendale and Jenison threw up a week 1 world record score. That's right, world record score of 185 points in the second match of their quarterfinal. The chalk held in the quarters as all of the top 4 teams advanced. And that set up the semi-showdown everyone was waiting for. In the 2 versus 3 semifinal, things started off by going the way of the Oxford Armada Imlay City Alliance. They scored a close victory to take a 1-game lead. Alliance number 3 counterpunched in the second match, slowing down number 2's offense more effectively and scoring just enough on their own to squeak out a 1-point victory. In the rubber match, with the ticket to the finals on the line, both squads brought their absolute best, and it once again came down to the wire, and the number 3 alliance would prevail thanks to a 6-point win. But the victory had taken its toll on the Temperance Bedford bot. The defending state champs' transmission gave out in the final seconds of competition. Unable to fix the issue in time, the number 2 alliance was forced to go with a backup, and the rookie team from Algonac received the call to fill in and compete in the Waterford District Finals. But who would they face? The prevailing thought was the number 1 seed, and that powerhouse alliance did not disappoint. They dispatched the number 4 team in 2 matches, and that set up a final showdown between some of the best squads in the state. The question was whether the new look number 3 Alliance would have the firepower to withstand the onslaught from the hot team in the Killer Bees. In the first match, Alliance 1 kicked things off by scoring early and often, and they did not slow down. The match concluded with the double tower scale by MILFORD and Notre Dame Prep as they took a 1-0 lead in decisive fashion. Match 2 turned out to be the victory lap for the number 1 seed. They couldn't be stopped, scoring from a variety of angles and once again putting up an impressive final score of 177 to seal the deal, and with it deliver a well-deserved blue banner to the 3 Alliance members. Nice job.
I was a little nervous because we had a couple malfunctions with our shooter, and we had to kind of redesign it and use a totally different motor than what we were planning on using, so I was a little bit worried, but I'm really happy with the way things turned out.
At the start of the competition, we actually didn't play our first 3 matches because we had communication issues, but once we started getting communications back, there was no stopping us from winning the tournament.
We work to make sure that students are inspired to do the best that they can. Our robot is 70+% student designed. It's student built, student wired, student programmed, and we want them to get the best out of the program.
All right, so Dan and Jim are back with us now. Let's start with Dan. And Dan, let's go to the quarterfinals, because that's where the number 1 Alliance set a week 1 world record score. What did you think when you saw that?
I mean, that's a bigger score than I think most of us were expecting to see week 1. They have one of the better high goal shooters of the first week, so they're getting 5 points at a time instead of 2. Still clearing all the defenses, getting both of the big bonuses for 45 more points, crossing the defenses and breaking down the tower. So they just had kind of the ability to score in every way and put it all together for that big score.
Right, so we're seeing a lot of scoring. So Jim, what adjustments were people talking about? What do you expect to see the most after week 1?
We talked to a lot of teams in the pits and on the field about what they're going to do next. Everybody gets to play at least 2 districts. Most of these top teams are hoping to go to both of the championships. Some of the things we're going to see people add. High goal shooters. You saw a number of teams be able to succeed scoring only in the low goal on volume, but to break the parity in the game, points are really going to matter. So the extra 3-point premium on the high goal is certainly going to come into play. Hanging devices to scale the tower, certainly everybody wants one. Only a few teams have made them and successfully deployed them yet.
All right, thanks guys. And Jim, congratulations. Good win for you guys and a world record. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks, Lauren.
All right, guys, Dan and Jim will be back in just a moment to give you their updated top 10 based on last week's action. Join the conversation online. Find us on Twitter at RoboZone Show or on Facebook. Just search RoboZone. We will be back right after this.
Your home for high school sports is Michigan's original high school sports show, State Champ. For over a decade, the multiple Emmy Award-winning State Champs covers all sports statewide, 40 weeks a year. Catch State Champs Sundays at 9 a.m. on Fox Sports Detroit and StateChampsNetwork.com.
We want you.
We are Lawrence Technological University, and we don't want just anyone.
We want the brainiacs, visionaries, geniuses, and game changers. We want the students who will change the world through technology, science, business, and design.
So if you're ready to explore your possibilities,
we want you at LTU.
Lawrence Tech. Possible is everything.
For over 30 years, we've been the leading supplier of robots, CNCs, and factory automation to American manufacturing. We help companies reach production goals locally and globally with bringing manufacturing back to North America. Our innovative technologies provide world-class quality and efficiency. We train, educate, and develop highly skilled workers, harnessing the power of man and machine together. We are the future of manufacturing. We are FANUC America.
So gentlemen, let's see the lists.
All right, thanks, Lauren. I changed a number of things on my list this week. I brought 5 teams in that weren't in my top 10 previously. We'll start off maybe at the bottom is I've got 4 teams who were recent winners The Benzene Bots, Team 70, the More Martians, the Goon Squad, and the BOYNE City Blaze. We brought them all into the top 10, displacing some other teams who had poorer performance this week. I kept 3 teams who haven't played yet. Probably the big change on my list is I moved team 1918 into the number 2 position on my list. 1918, Dan, you were right. You had them higher rated than I did in the preceded rankings. I'm very impressed with their performance at Standish, and I think they're going to be a powerhouse this year.
I struggled with not putting them first on my list this week. Performance-wise, they were right at the top. I can't move your team and the hot team down from number 1 and 2 until you make a mistake, and you guys won your event as well. So the new winners, I think I matched most of your changes, 4384, the Benzene Bots, Goon Squad, as well as BOYNE City Blaze, all made it into my top 10 after winning their event this week. You were at the Warterford event where 1023 played. Again, 1023 state champion last year, one of our top teams coming into the preseason rankings, and you have them all the way out of your top 10.
They've got some things to work out with their team. They have some fixes to make to the robot, obviously. They broke it and exited the finals. But I really think they do have a lot of potential right now. They have not demonstrated with this robot that they can win, but they certainly have a good solution.
Okay, maybe these guys have all the answers. You're free to disagree with them, of course. You can see, in fact, our top 25 rankings in their entirety at our website, RoboZoneTV.com. Now, guys, I know we have a couple of teams that we haven't seen yet. Who are you looking forward to seeing the most?
Well, next week at Kettering event number 2, 2 of the teams that I'm eagerly waiting to see on the field is 314, the Megatron Oracles, Big Mo, and perennial powerhouse 2337, the Engine Nerds.
27 is the highest team we both have rated on our list, or ranked on our list, so be interesting to see their robot. I don't know if there are going to be as many surprises there. I think 314 is the team that could either surprise us with a robot that exceeds these expectations, or you know, they could have an off year, so I kind of want to see them the most.
Well, thanks, guys. And with the rest of the teams joining the action in week 2, I'm sure we'll see more shuffling in those rankings on next week's show. Now, speaking of next week, our robotics coverage will take us to Battle Creek, St. Joseph, and Kettering districts. We'll also have the state finals for girls hockey, girls basketball here on State Champs. So for Jim Zondag and Dan KIMURA, I'm Lauren Plant. We'll see you next week right here on State Champs and State Champs RoboZone. State Champs and State Champs RoboZone is presented by Lawrence Technological University. Possible is everything. And First in Michigan, Michigan's premier provider of K-12 robotics programs. Also brought to you by Fanuc America, the leading supplier of robots, CNCs, and factory automation. Sarah Chevrolet, the low payment people. Visit us at lowpayment.cars. Consumers Energy, encouraging your inner genius. And Hungry Howie's Dough Raiser. Your next fundraiser comes with flavored crust.